She had already taken refuge in God, but through Boaz, she discovered that the Lord was able to do far more abundantly than all that she could ask or have thought. As God established his covenant with Israel, he revealed his own kindness as one who executes justice for the fatherless and the widow and loves the sojourner, giving him food and clothing. It is Saturday, the 29th day of October, 2022. Time for the reading of our devotional thought for today, and it's being read from the book Truth for Life by pastor and author Alistair Begg. Today's devotional thought is entitled Extending God's Kindness. And the verses today, Ruth chapter 2, verses 19 and 20, and it writes, "Today you can make the invisible God visible." When Ruth set out for the fields to glean, she never could have known just how wonderful God's provision would be. She had already taken refuge in God, but through Boaz, she discovered that the Lord was able to do far more abundantly than all that she could ask or have thought. As God established his covenant with Israel, he revealed his own kindness as one who executes justice for the fatherless and the widow and loves the sojourner, giving him food and clothing. And that's found in Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 18. He gave his law to his people not to make them legalistic, but to have him display his character and bring joy to his name through their obedience. Part of the law created a framework to provide for those in difficult circumstances. As Boaz obeyed the law's instructions by extending his invitation to Ruth to come and eat, Ruth chapter 2, verse 14, he did so graciously. He had received God's kindness, and he realized that he could in turn share it with others. He put literal hands and feet to obeying God's commands, and Ruth further discovered God's heart as a result. Further, Boaz's graciousness was paired with generosity. He not only invited Ruth to feast, but also offered her a seat among his harvesters. He encouraged her to eat her full. He allowed her to take from the very best sheaves of grain, not just the leftovers. Despite her social and racial differences, he didn't alienate or hold her at arm's length. Quite the reversal. Boaz went beyond what God's law had laid down. This is but a glimpse of the welcome God extends to us through Christ as he invites us to his heavenly table. And this is the offer that all of us as Christians should embody. If anyone, be they widowed, poor, hurting, or bitter, enter a church gathering or a Christian home, there ought to be a sense of faithful acceptance because of how God's people embodied his covenant care. By the end of the day, Ruth was overwhelmed with the favor Boaz kept extending. When she returned home with her plentiful provision, Naomi rejoiced over the generosity, describing it with the word chid, the continuing loving care and merciful provision of God. Boaz's chid caused Ruth's and Naomi's heart to rejoice and worship the God who abound in chid, in Exodus chapter 34, verses 6 and 7. Boaz's kindness overflowed with the gracious, generous, and continual kindness he had received from God. As fellow recipients of the Lord's care, when we extend our kindness to others, they too may come to know him. The invisible God becomes visible to every generation through the compassion of his people. To whom will you extend gracious, generous, and unexpected kindness today? And truly may our eyes be looking for those who we can make God visible to them through our extended gracious, generous, and unexpected kindness. And may God pinpoint individuals today that we can lavish his love and provision on. In Jesus' name. And that concludes our devotional thought for this 29th day of October, 2022. Clive Walsh here, encouraging you to continue reading through the Bible in a year, 2 Samuel chapter 12 and 13, and 1 John chapter 3, and may the Lord richly bless you. My name is Clive Welsh.